just getting back in. I mean, I would have done it, but it needs to be like 90.
It was cold Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It's 7 according to AT&T.
I got 7 o'clock.
According to,
No.
waiting for Deb to clear me. You all set, Deb?
Yep, we're good.
Call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Alsop.
Here.
Cruikshank.
Here.
Heifel. Shield.
Here.
Musgrave.
Here.
Rankin.
Here.
McKinney.
Here.
Motion to excuse Suzanne from the meeting tonight.
Support.
Motion support. Roll call, please.
Cruikshank.
Yes.
Shield.
Yes.
Musgrave.
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes.
Alsop.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes. Motion carried. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the village council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed separately immediately after consent agenda approval in its normal sequence on the regular agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion support. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Shield.
Yes.
Musgrave.
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes.
Alsop.
Yes.
Cruikshank.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes. Motion carried. Public comment. Members of the public can address council once recognized by the chairperson. Comments are limited to a maximum of 4 minutes. Council may extend this time by up to an additional 4 minutes by a majority vote. Prior to addressing council, members of the public, we ask that you please state your name and address for the record. Is there any public comment? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll move on to new business. There being no old business.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So the DDA has been going through a process of evaluating our current logo and tagline for the village. And so they've been receiving assistance through Oakland County. As you know, as part of the Main Street program, Oakland County provides a lot of services to the village. One of those is this type of really self-examination and kind of a marketing enhancement where municipalities or Main Street communities can they can take advantage of and really evaluate where they're at and if they desire to do any changes. So Assistant Manager DDA Director Katie Hughes is going to just bring council up to speed or give you some information on the process that the DDA is going through right now and her committees. The council is not going to be asked to make any decisions on any of this until after the DDA has completed their study, and at that time they may or may not, they may go through the study and decide to leave things the way they are. They may decide that there are some enhancements or small changes, or they may have some larger changes that they would like to recommend to council. No action will be taken until that study is done, until the issue comes back to council for further consideration. So this really is just a true study session or informational session, just so that you know what is happening through the DDA.
I'll come up front so it'll be easier. Folder. So as Mr. Walker said, we have a proposal, and we've gone through this as our tech visit. That's what we've chosen for this year for the DDA. So it's a logo and tagline type of exercise and a campaign that we're working on. So Curtis Jackson of Digital Alliance LLC, he was the chosen individual to work with us through Main Street, Oakland County. And he's put together some information. So last month, it's been 6 weeks or so, we put out a survey to the public and tried to push it out to lots of different Facebook groups and emails and things, asking people to participate in this exercise. And there were several questions that were asked. Had any of you participated in the study, taken the survey?
I believe I did, yeah.
Excellent, thank you for doing that. So the information that was put together, and first what I did to kind of prep that is asked in a couple of Facebook groups, if you would describe the village of Holly in 3 words, how would you describe it? Just those 3 words. And I took all the responses, and there were a couple hundred responses, and made them into a word cloud, kind of very colorful, like that. So some of the big words that came out were friendly, historic, quaint, history, downtown, antiques, Battle Alley, Dickens Festival. So those are the things that that the people know us as. So the demographics out of the participants, we were hoping for at least 300 responses, and we received 317. So being statistically significant, I think 317 responses is great. The gender of male and female, so there were 80% female, 20% male. But that's we'd like it to be a little bit closer, but we'll take what we can get. The age is interesting. So 39% of those who responded were ages 30 to 44, and 29% were 45 to 59. So things were kind of the middle ranges, which is good. This is an interesting part, is they ask, are you a Village of Holly resident? 58% yes, but 42%, almost half of the respondents were not Village of Holly residents, though they wanted to weigh in on the Village of Holly logo and tagline process. I think part of that is that there are a lot of people who live in what we would consider Holly proper. So Rose Township and Groveland and Springfield and Holly Township, not just in the tiny village itself, but in Holly proper, but we still call Holly home. So we feel like we have a vested interest in the future of this. 91% were residents, 9% were business owners out of those 317 responses. Another interesting note was how many years that they've lived in Holly. 29% of the respondents were non-residents. So the biggest group that responded when it said, but it's years lived in the village of Holly. So, and then 22% were had lived here for 20 years or more. So we have a lot of residents who really wanted to have their voice heard that have been here for a very long time. So in the responses and feedback, 173 of the 317 people relocated to the village of Holly. So they're not born and raised. So more than half of the people are new here. The primary reason for the relocation, they liked our small town and community. They wanted to be closer to family, affordable living, and another big part of it was marriage. So they married somebody who lives here. And so now they're part of Holly too. So we asked what brands were strong, brands, other communities that had something that was recognizable with a tagline or a logo. Fenton, Be Closer, Meet Me in Milford, Frankenmuth, Michigan's Little Bavaria. But the other two, the city of the village of Clarkston and the city of Grand Blanc. And their logos and taglines are not nearly as recognizable as some of the others, but I think we see who are what we would consider to be our competitors, the local. Those are the ones that are closest. In asking what were Holly's most distinctive qualities, the #1 most distinctive quality by far was the best downtown. So our downtown is our biggest asset of these 317 respondents, and that's great to hear. Also, our small town charm. It's quiet and safe, a great atmosphere, nice dining and shopping, and the history and heritage is important to us. When describing Holly's personality, the #1 thing of our personality, what are we known for, is historic. And that was, by far and large, historic was #1. And then next is quaint, friendly, safe, casual, relaxed, inviting. It's kind of a nice way, if you think about it, that really does describe us. And of those 317 people, they agreed to. Some of the other personality traits were known as wholesome, charming, neighborly, peaceful. Togetherness is important to us. When asked the community features that are used most by the 317 respondents, the downtown was the #1 feature that they used the most. And then dining, and next parks, and then shopping. So parks was #3 out of all of the things that were listed. it's good to know that our parks are seen as a big feature and an asset that's used the most. The top 3 Holly Village assets, again, downtown, Parks and Rec, shopping. It's good that it's the same information over and over again because it really solidifies what we're looking for. So here's some positive perceptions. I won't read them all, I'll just read a few, but this should help. And these are anecdotal, so these, when asked like an open paragraph style, tell us what you think of this, of those respondents. Everyone knows us for the downtown, the Dickens Festival, and the Renaissance Festival. Most people, I believe, perceive us as a family-friendly community. Holly is on the move and starting to change. New shops and dining are great. Holly keeps its traditions, preserves its infrastructure, utilizes the downtown creatively. The name Holly conjures up happy holiday thoughts. These are great responses. Here's a good one. Not only do I, as a business owner, observe, but our guests do as well. We see and mention the positives. The village is safe, friendly, and a destination spot. We also have a nice variety to offer our guests and customers. And so that was from a business owner. I'll read one more. I always hear about how cute Holly is when speaking about it with non-residents. The village is making excellent strides to improve the overall look of the community, tearing down eyesores, redoing murals, etc., all steps in a great direction. So that's some feel-good stuff for you. The positive takeaways. There's a distinct consensus that Holly is a welcoming and friendly community with a rich history. The most positive comments were hopeful, and they recognize and acknowledge community improvements. Yet many were cautious about changes that affect what they believe are the core benefits and values of the village, specifically the quaint small town feel and the outdoors and recreational opportunities. So while they're happy about some of the big changes, we also want to have this small town feel. We don't want to let that go away, and I agree. So with the positive, we should probably share a few of the negatives, and some of these sting a little bit. I won't read too many. So some people think of Holly as low class, and I believe that's due to the amount of parks, mobile home parks in Holly. If there were a way to tighten codes for some of the parks, maybe make them look nicer, it might attract more residents. The nice thing is that when people are giving negatives, they're also giving some ideas of how to make them positive. So I think that's a helpful thing to read, that people want to help. Stores need to be open on Mondays and on evenings. I see a lot of people walking around in the evenings and no place to go. And so in our downtown is a little different, that the times that the stores close is earlier. I don't think that we see that many people that are out shopping at 9 o'clock downtown. So many of the negative comments were aesthetically driven, and those are things that can be fixed, which is great. There were higher points, there were more hopeful comments about what should or can be done to address certain issues. Specific comments are often offset with positive thoughts on change. So that's wonderful to hear. And those are just a couple, that's not representative of the entire, out of the 317, those are just a couple that were pulled. So the primary objectives of what we're looking to do here, we're looking to create a tagline that represents and captures the benefits of the Village of Holly. So right now our tagline, if you know, it hasn't been changed in decades. It's proud of our past and confident in our future. And that's a great tagline. If you live here, that really means something. But if you're not from the Village of Holly, if you're from a different county, a different state, that probably doesn't define us. And so I think we're looking for something that that will specifically make it so that people know, oh yeah, that's Holly for sure. So we're looking to visually articulate the Holly brand, the logo and identity system that captures the essence of the community, that can be a centralized beacon for ongoing development and community initiatives. So we're going to try and focus on historic, quaint, friendly, safe, casual, inviting, something that kind of centers around that. So the process then, what Curtis Jackson from Digital Alliances is working on for us, and we're not there yet. So it goes from like 1 to 6. So he'll offer 6 ideas, and then we can tweak them as needed. Number 1 is extremely just traditional, very literal. 6 is abstract and modern. And he said, in reading your comments, it seems like most people feel we're a little more traditional, a little more conservative, a little more literal, not so so out there, and so I agreed. So he'll also look at the language and personality. Is it common? Is it ownable? Is it whimsical? Where do we fall in between there? Some crowdsourced examples. So these are just ideas when they said, if you saw the Village of Holly on a billboard, what would it say? And so these are some thoughts from those 317 people. Relax, rejuvenate, reconnect. Come see what you've been missing. Up north charm in the heart of Michigan. So as you can see, those are pretty conservative. Somewhere in the middle, Holly, it's not just for Christmas. Welcome home, even if you're just visiting. And kick back and enjoy the peace. Some that are a little more abstract, a little more modern. Visit yesterday, today. Have a Holly day. And visit Holly by golly. So those are a couple others that people had suggested. So we're working with Mr. Jackson on something that is going to make sense, that is going to be representative of us. And so we'll work with the Main Street team on looking at the ideas that come out, and then hope to have something that we can bring as our suggestion to the DDA. So I just wanted to share that what's going on. And part of the reason with this, the reason for doing this now, the logo and the tagline, and it's more about tourism. It's bringing other people to Holly. Giving them a reason to come here, because we are slowly, quickly becoming a destination spot. Day trippers, a lot of day trippers will come to Holly and spend the whole day here, and we want to give them a reason to come here. And so I think that it may be on a billboard, the logo, the tagline. It may be small tweaks to what we have right now, but it's something to make us identifiable. I've been working with Main Street, Oakland County. It's through Local Hop and Metro Mode Media. And they're working on a tourism website. It's visitoaklandcounty.com. And thank goodness they snagged that tagline, because if you go to Oakland County or okgov.com, if you go to visit that, the first thing that comes up is where to visit someone at the Oakland County Jail. So we would much rather have visit Oakland County as come to visit some of the communities in Oakland County. So so we did snag that that website. So since we are one of the 13 select level communities in Main Street, Oakland County, we get to participate in this tourism website, and they're working on some really great stuff. So with a new logo and a tagline and a page that can be built into this tourism website that will be pushed all over to try to attract people in the tech sector, people who are moving to Michigan for the first time. Because not everyone who works in some of the big city areas wants to live there. Some of them want that small town charm, and then they'll commute to the big cities. We have something that they're looking for. And so we want to be able to get on the forefront of that tourism push. And so that's the perfect timing for going through this exercise now. Plus, when it comes time to paint the water towers, it'd be really nice to see that new logo and tagline on those too. So lots of ways that we can change and update things. It's going to take time, but this is the process that we're undergoing. This is through our tech visit through Main Street, Oakland County now. Any questions?
All sounds like great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm assuming there's no further comments or questions. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Members of the public can address council once recognized by the chairperson. Comments are limited to a maximum of 4 minutes. Council may extend this time after the initial 4 minutes by majority vote. Prior to addressing council, members of the public, we ask please state their name and address for the record. Any public comment at this time? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll go on to reports. Mr. Walker?
Yes, thank you. So we just finished holidays this past weekend. Many of you participated in it. It was a great event. So this was the third event following our sesquicentennial, in which this festival was born. This is the first year that it was a full weekend event with events on all 3 days, but huge success. So really hats off to Katie, who led the charge along with the Parks Commission. And so it was a true team effort, lots of volunteers involved, lots of people discovered the village of Holly for the first time, and lots of them rediscovered it who had just not been back in a while. And those that participate regularly, we had many positive comments just on the family fun events that were there. And predominantly it was a free event. I mean, there were a few things. The movie at the beach on Friday night, there was a charge for that, but there was a pretty hefty charge to have the rights to show that movie. So while we try to provide as much as we can free, there are some things, but really it was $5. It was pretty nominal when you go about that. So Holidays, huge success. Thank you for everybody who participated in that. On another note, Debbie and I participated in a group meeting of area communities today of Groveland, Holly, Rose, and Springfield townships, along with Superintendent Roper of the Holly area schools, really to just get a brief update. As you know, Mr. Roper just assumed the position of district superintendent, although he had been with the district for about 5 years previously. So it was nice to get a perspective on where he envisions Holly area schools heading, and really some good things coming in the future. He gave us some information too that we weren't aware of regarding the bond issue that's on the November 6th ballot. I have invited him to come speak to council just because I feel that you as council members may get questions about the schools in our community and about the bond issue. So he is going to check his calendar and those that work with him on this project, and he will either be with us the first or the second meeting in October. So look forward to that. If you have any specific questions for him, if you'll let me know ahead of time, I'll make sure that he includes those in his presentation. Next, staff attended, myself, Director Clausen, and Fire Chief Building Official McGee, the last Parks Commission meeting. I won't steal a lot of thunder on it. I'll leave something for Chris to talk about. But we talked about the Waterworks building and kind of some staff ideas that we have for the site. And so in the next couple of months, we hope to have some clear recommendations from the Parks Commission as far as what they want to see at that site specifically. For the winter time, just so you know, half of the orange fence has been taken down. The rest of the orange fence will be removed once that site is stabilized, the soil. The cyclone construction fence, which is really just a small area just around the tunnel area where the water passes through, that will remain fenced for the winter and until a deck is across that area, just for safety reasons. And so that's what will be occurring there. And then lastly, you've probably seen, if not on social media, in person, the lights over Battle Alley, they're stunning. And so really hats off again to the DDA for their efforts in moving that project forward, and really to the business owners who agreed to allow that to occur. So really, it's a huge asset to that area. And so just lots of things happening. Economic development continues to be strong in the village. There have been some more property transfers or purchases in the downtown. There have been more property transfers and purchases from Midtown up into the north shopping district. And so things continue to be strong in the village. So we're very, very happy with that. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Clerk Treasurer Deborah Bigger, any report for us?
And nothing much this week. My staff is very busy because it is tax month. At the end of the month is the last day to pay the village taxes, so we're getting tons of them in. And I am still working on all of the audit prep. I'm about 60% done with the reports for the October 1st deadline, so we should hit the deadline for the audit.
Thank you. Boards and commissions. Mr. Shield, we'll start with you.
None at this time.
Mr. Rankin?
Well, as Mr. Walker mentioned, Holly Days was a resounding success. The Parks Commission portion of that, the Community Play Day, was, if not then definitely one of the best attended Play Day events we've had in several years. The weather was warm. It was a little cloudy, but didn't rain. We had a good crowd. everybody had a great time. Lots of positive comments about it. In the future, the Parks Commission, at our next meeting, will be brainstorming ideas about the waterworks site to put something together and try and create some sort of a vision for that park. So we'll be reaching out to members of the public and just trying to put together something that everybody's going to love.
Thank you. Mr. Alsop?
Okay.
Ms. Musgrave?
Nothing.
Mr. Cruikshank?
Planning Commission meeting, last one was canceled, so nothing to report on that.
Council comments will begin with Mr. Cruikshank.
Okay. Holidays, echoing what Chris said, you know, fantastic job. One of the things that stuck out in my mind was the Main Street team. Everywhere I turned, there was somebody in a red shirt. Phenomenal. There was tens of people that had brooms and dustpans. Phenomenal. Like, and that's something I pay attention to as I go around to other festivals in other cities and that kind of thing is, you know, how clean or how active are they. So I can't say a bad word about it. It was great. My hat's off to everybody. Main Street team, great job. Just as a reminder, for the parking ordinance that's changing, November 15th is fast approaching. I would encourage to begin starting to promote that via Gov Delivery, even put it on the water bill, say, hey, parking ordinance is updated, check the village website, you know, for details, getting a little micro page on the front page for that, just so we, you know, everybody's aware and we're doing everything we can. Maybe even reach out to Tri-County, because that's a pretty huge ordinance change. And then also on kind of the next evolution for Gov Delivery, I had intended on trying to get it on the agenda and it slipped my mind, and so I apologize for that, but I want to discuss the meeting agendas for council and then various boards and commissions and then the minutes for those specifically. I feel it's time that we are getting used to Gov Delivery, and so we're kind of getting into that swing of things that let's take it to the next step. And I would like to make the motion that as of right now, that we would start putting the agendas out once the council gets them. So on that Thursday, putting them out on a Gov Delivery for that. And then the approved minutes of whatever meeting that is, whenever those are available. And then in 90 days, bringing on board the rest of the boards and commissions is what I'm, so, you know, kind of easing into it. I don't want to drop a bomb and do that, but it doesn't seem like it's much additional work, maybe a few, you know, 5 to 10 minutes per meeting agenda that you're sending out. To get that going, and I think in the effort of transparency, because a lot of people still try and find agendas for whatever meeting they want to attend, and then finding the minutes and not always just going to the website is always the easiest thing. So I think Gov Delivery is the way to go for that. So I would make that motion.
And I would support it.
Okay. So before you take a vote, can I just make a comment?
Sure.
So I'm not really sure that was the entire purpose of Gov Delivery, to become a weekly publication carrying those type of business items in it. So what I would ask you to do is, if you would, is to postpone this item until the next meeting. Give us a chance to get some technical consultation from our partners at Granicus who put out the Gov Delivery. And let's just make sure that we're on full track of what the intent and purpose is. Certainly we can do anything we want to as a community, but I think, if you would, let's just check with them and see if there are any experiences they have to where it may actually curtail other people following Gov Delivery. You know, if it becomes just a item that has business type, because we already do publish at least the council items, well, and the other minutes on the website. You know, really maybe a better use, and it's just something to think about, would be to push hard reminders out about, hey, go to the village website, there's great information there, this is where you get your minutes, and because they'll gain other information while they're on the village website at the same time.
Well, that would be fine, is directing them to the direct link for the minutes. You know, it doesn't have to necessarily be an attachment in the email, but I mean, I get emails weekly, monthly, sporadically from other local municipalities that say, hey, approved minutes have now been posted. They're here. Agendas for whatever meeting are here. And So that's where I'm coming from with that one.
Sure, I got you.
So I don't mind doing that, so we can reach out to make sure that we have everything we need to get that started. And then putting it on the agenda for next meeting is fine.
Sure, we'll make it
I
an
would,
agenda
I would
item.
withdraw my motion as long as we're going to put it on the next agenda. So.
I'm in agreement with that.
So there's no motion on the floor.
No.
Anything further, Mr. Cruikshank?
No.
Thank you. Ms. Musgrave,
Nothing.
Mr. Alsop,
Nothing.
Mr. Rankin,
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Shield.
Just to echo what with everybody about the holidays. Thank you to all the volunteers. You all were greatly appreciated and everything. Thumbs up to you all. And thank you for all your hard work.
I have no comment. There's no objection?
So moved.
We're adjourned.
What about a comment?
That was already done.
You were late, Johnny.
It was a short meeting tonight.
It says right after reports from the village manager.
Council comments.